Thanks for coming to AnimalCon. Would you mind introducing yourself and telling us the name of your channel?
Hi, I'm Tanner from SerpaDesign.
And you're a recognized name and got a lot of talent. Do you mind telling us how you got started in YouTube and in building habitat?
Sure. So, I mean, the journey goes back pretty far from whenever I was a child, just going out in the woods, picking up rocks, catching salamanders and frogs and different things like that. And it eventually evolved to the point where I was keeping animals indoors, and it was pretty rudimentary back then, especially a lot of the information that's commonplace now, we just didn't have it these days. Eventually, my setups and everything started to get a little bit more elaborate as I learned more, and just randomly I started sharing stuff online, and I didn't really get much traction, so I stopped for, I don't know, 10 years or so. And then back in 2016, I just randomly started uploading again and started to pick up some steam and traction. And then I really just started to take it seriously. And 6 or so years later, here we are now.
How did you gain the skills of terrarium and aquascaping?
I have a very extensive background in fine arts. And from a young age, I was gifted with drawing and that sort of thing. So I already kind of had like a natural inherent ability. But I took all these classes, and I also went to school for graphic design, but I had to take a lot of fine arts classes with that, sculpting, different things like that, which all lend themselves really well to habitat creation because it's all sort of an art form. I have to sculpt a lot of things, animal or plant placement, things like that, and it all just kind of goes together.
With all that, you get to keep a lot of different species. What's the favorite species you get to keep?
I wouldn't say I have a favorite. I would say at the current time, the Pippa or Suriname toad, they're a fully aquatic frog. They're one of my favorites. I would say frogs in general are probably my favorite.
In closing, what advice would you give people who are trying to get into making terrariums look as good as the ones you do?
I would say just don't expect them to look like mine or somebody who's been doing it as long as I have to look like that. It really is an art form that has to develop a skill that you have to develop over time. So really, it's just going to come from doing it over and over and over again, experimenting with different materials, different techniques, and things like that. So find out as much information as you can, look at other people's projects, watch videos, read books, whatever kind of resources you have at your disposal, which is pretty vast nowadays. Just use those things, work on your talents, and get there eventually.
Thank you. I know it's been a busy weekend for you, so thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.